Solving quadratics graphically. So we're going to fill out the chart that you have on your sheet. So if we have y equals x squared plus x minus 6, we want to write this as a quadratic equation. So for the second column, it would be 0 equals x squared plus x minus 6. The difference between a function and an equation is a function has two variables, an equation has one. So that's for our first column. Our second column, what is the discriminant? So we're going to take b squared minus 4ac. My b is 1 minus 4 times 1 times negative 6. If you multiply this all out, you should get 25. So we know we have two rational roots because it is a square. And because we have two rational roots, we know we can factor it normally. So we want two numbers that add up to negative 1, or positive 1, and times to get negative 6. So our numbers are 3 and negative 2. So x plus 3, x minus 2. So x equals negative 3, and x equals 2. So here's our two roots. Down at the bottom of the page, you should have graph paper to write on. So we're just going to sketch it. We know it opens up because our a is positive, and we know it's going to cross at negative 3 and positive 2, so it's something like that. Well, that's not really 2. Maybe there. So there's this quick sketch of what our graph looks like. For the next equation, we're going to write it as an equation, so it's 0 equals x squared minus 9x. The discriminant is going to be b squared minus 4ac. So negative 9 squared minus 4 times 1 times 0, so it's 81, and we have two rational roots. Because we have two rational roots, we know we can factor normally, so we're going to take out an x. So we have x minus 9, so x equals 0, or x equals 9. We know it's positive, so it's going to open up. So when we graph it, it's going to look something like this. To write this as an equation, we're going to write 0 equals 5x squared plus 7x minus 6. To find the discriminant, it'll be 7 squared minus 4 times 5 times negative 6. And if you solve this down, you get 169, which means you have two rational roots because it's the square of 13. Because we have two rational roots, we know we can factor. So we need two numbers that add up to 7 and multiply to get negative 30. So our numbers are 10 and negative 3. So to factor, we're going to have 5x squared plus 10x minus 3x minus 6. Divide both sides by 5x and negative 3. We have 5x, x plus 2, minus 3, x plus 2. So our final answer is x minus 3, x plus 2. Therefore, our roots are x equals negative 2, or x equals 3 over 5. It's a positive, so it's opening up. So our graph is going to look something like this. For this one, our equation will be 0 equals 4x squared minus 28x plus 49. Our discriminant will be negative 28 squared minus 4 times 49. And if you type this into your calculator, you should get 0. So we know we have exactly one root. Now when we have one root, check to make sure it's a perfect square trinomial. 49 is square, 4 is squared. So therefore, we're going to just factor a perfect square trinomial. So we have 2x plus minus 7. So you take the square of your first term, the square root, the sign from here, and the square root of this. So therefore, x equals 7 over 2. So when we graph this, at 7 over 2, we're going to have a point somewhere in here. And it's positive, so we know it opens up. So it touches the line, and then it goes up. For this one, our equation will be 0 equals x squared minus x minus 3. My discriminant will be negative 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 3, which is 1 plus 12, which is 13. So therefore, we know we have two roots, but they're irrational. When it's irrational, we know we have to use the quadratic formula. So x equals negative 1 plus or minus the square root of negative 1 squared plus or minus the 4, I already did the minus 4 times 1 times negative 3 all over 2 times 1. And if you type this into your calculator with the plus and the minus, you get 2.3 and negative 1.3. So when we graph it, we know it's opening up because it's positive. And at negative 1.3 and at 2.3, we have points. So something like that. That's really terribly drawn. I'm very sorry. Our equation for f is 0 equals x squared plus x plus 3. Our discriminant is 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times 3, which is 1 minus 12, which is negative 11. Therefore, we have no real roots. So that means we have no intercepts. But that doesn't mean we don't have a graph. It just means it doesn't cross the x-axis. So if we look at the x-axis, our graph, we know because this is positive, is going to be on the positive quadrants, so either 1 or 2. And it's not going to cross the x-axis, so it's somewhere up here. We don't exactly know where. But it will definitely not be down here. Can't happen. It has to be up here. So our discriminant helps us determine things. So if it'll intersect at one point, we know that our discriminant is equal to 0. When it's at 2 points, we know it's greater than 0, and it's less than 0 if it has no intersection points. So it's the same as the number of roots. For the following 3 graphs, we want to see what we can tell about this. Well, for the first graph, we know that our A is positive, and because it intersects at one spot, we know that our D equals 0. For the second graph, our A is negative, and D does not intersect at all, so we have less than 0. And for the last one, A is positive, and D intersects at 2 points, so we know it's greater than 0. For the last question, it says a projectile is launched upward with a speed of 50 miles per second in height in meters, and t in seconds is modeled by the equation h equals negative 4.9 t squared plus 50t plus 10. So for this, we're going to do it 2 ways. We're going to do it with the graphing calculator and also with the quadratic formula. The graphing calculator that I want you to buy, it's not, you don't have to buy it, it's free. If you go on the App Store for Apple, it's called Free Graphing Calculator. And the one that's very similar to it for the Android is called Algeo Graphing Calculator. So it should work the same. So for this, when you download the app and open it, make sure that you go to the second tab down here. And your graphing calculator might look a little bit different than mine because mine's on the iPad and yours might be on your phone or your iPod. But it's the same buttons that we're going to be using. So we want to find when the projectile hits the ground. So we know that h is going to equal 0. So we want to find negative 4.9 t squared plus 50t plus 10. Now for this, we don't have t's. We're just going to use x's. So when we type this into our calculator, we want to graph it, and then from the graph, we're going to find our answer. So we're going to type in negative 0.9, and we're going to use this button right here, x. Now to do an exponent, you do the little hat, which means to the power of, and then your exponent number, 2, plus 50 t, which is x, plus 10. Then you're going to click Save. After you click Save, this screen should show up. And from there, click on your function again, and then click Graph. And this is what should come up. Now, to get it to look like this, I had to zoom out. So if you want to zoom out on the, pinch your fingers up and down. And if you want to zoom in or out on the x-axis, again, pinch your fingers right and left. So this is what our graph looks like. And when h equals 0 is when it crosses the x-axis. So if we zoom in, it should look like this. So we're seeing that it crosses right here at this point. So 8t will equal 10.4 seconds. To do this with the quadratic formula, we would just go x equals negative b, which is 50, plus or minus the square root of 50 squared, minus 4 times negative 4.9 times 10, all over 2 times negative 4.9. When you type it into your calculator, and if you use the positive because your negative one ends up giving you a negative answer, you'll get 10.4 seconds. So both solutions work. This is a good way to help check. Using the graphing calculator is helpful.